I am so lazy to go and dye my hair, so I'm going to tell you guys the quick story. I always say quick and I end up being like 10-15 minutes. The first picture that I showed you guys yesterday when I was 118 pounds was when I broke up with a boyfriend, and I was devastated. Like, I was so heartbroken. I've been a hopeless romantic, and my relationships haven't been really good to me. And when I break up with somebody, or when somebody breaks up with me, I am devastated, and I don't eat. I don't want to do anything. Even that picture, like just looking at it, reminds me that day of that workout on the beach that I didn't want to go. Like I honestly, like I was going to quit, like tell the trainer that I didn't want to go. I just wanted to quit absolutely everything. I didn't want anything to do with life itself. Anyways, why? Okay, so why was I devastated? What had happened? Let's jump into that. The reason why I was completely devastated was because not only had this person broken up with me, but I ended up realizing that he was with someone that was part of my group, somebody that saw me with him, somebody that shared moments with us. Somebody that I would give her products of mine because she had a lot of cellulite, and I would just give her free products to use. So it was just a fucking betrayal to me that I felt so in shock. Like, I couldn't believe it. And the worst part is, as women, like, we have that intuition. I remember being at a Halloween party and asking about her. I'm like, oh, I asked two of her friends, why isn't she here? And they looked at each other, and it just smacked me right here in the heart. And I'm like, it's her. That's the girl that he's now hanging out with. Because obviously when somebody breaks up with you, you know when there's somebody else. Like, you can feel it deep in your heart. And I knew there was somebody, I just didn't know who it was. And that's when I realized it was her. And I'm such an FBI little agent. I remember that when that day of that party, I immediately went to her Twitter or whatever. And I remember she had posted a picture with some glasses in a car. And in her glasses, you could see the reflection of a rosary. And it was the same rosary that he would always have in his car. So I'm like, dude, my intuition does not fail me. Anyways, at that moment, I was very betrayed. I was very, very sad. 218 pounds. I was super, super skinny, as you can see in that picture. Like, everything was flabby. Everything was droopy because I was just sad. At that moment, when he started hanging out with that person, then I decided to just give the gym my all. And I decided to go hard as hell on the gym. And I'm like, this is going to be my escape. This is going to be what makes me feel better. At that moment, he would follow a lot of like influencers and people that would go a lot to the gym and lift heavy. And I'm like, this is like who I thought he wanted. So, you know, as a girl, you're in love or whatever. And I just started lifting heavy, and I'm like, this is the body that I want. And I'm going to become super, super shredded. And I want a big butt and I want big thighs. And I made it. I really focus hardcore on getting there. And I remember I would go with Summer, my friend. We would both live at the Flamingo. She would wake me up at 5:30 in the morning, and she's like, see you at 6. We would be there at 6, and we would be there and take selfies. And it was such an awesome time, because even though I was depressed and I was like sad or whatever, like just sharing that experience with her and her pushing me and the both of us waking up together, I definitely feel that having a friend during those hard times is very important. And anyways, we started going to the gym. Okay, so after achieving all this and I looked amazing and whatever, I still was sad inside. I still was depressed. He came back after that. I forgave him. We got back together. And this is even worse. I can't, hold on. I just laugh because this is so embarrassing. But anyways, I said that I was going to be honest and tell my story, and I'm telling it. Anyways, I looked my best. I felt my best. But deep inside, I obviously wasn't happy. He came back. I forgave him. We started hanging out again. And then I remember that I was doing very well with JLV. Like, I had a very successful company. I was doing great. And he wanted to start his own company. He wanted to sell shirts and like clothing online. So he wanted me to kind of explain to him how I became an entrepreneur. He's like, come present to my dad, tell him like what you've done. He wants to hear from you so he can invest with me. Like, his dad had money, and he wanted to convince his dad to invest in his clothing company. As an in-love girl, obviously you want your father-in-law to like you. I presented to him. I was super nervous. I went very well dressed. I told him everything that I did, how I had achieved my success, what my strategy was, what my marketing was, what I did, how much I spent, everything. I spilled my beans. And whatever, they were supposed to start the company and his clothing company. Then a few weeks go by, or a month or so, and a friend tells me that, hey, he is saying that he's going to be your competition. That broke me. I think since then, that was honestly like my last serious relationship. I think that after that, like I felt so betrayed on so many levels, but the whole business thing, that hurt me. I can say that was like the end for me. And after that, like that's when I went ballistic. And obviously I confronted him and he denied it. And then out of nowhere, like this is how FBI I am. He was doing a story and he had like one of those yellow pads. And I zoomed into his story and it said gels, fajas, like how much he had to order, like he was denying it to me, but I knew deep inside that he was doing it. He launched supposedly like a bee belt and a gel also. Same thing as me. Like exactly the same thing he tried to do. But at the end of the day, people sometimes like they don't understand that it's not the products. I mean, my products work, but 50% it's me. 50% is the loyalty that people have with me, with my brand, how people like believe in me, the effort that I put into my company, my story. Like a lot of people purchase more because of me than because of the product. And sometimes people think that they can just go out there and be you, and it doesn't work that way. Anyways, long story short, like that ended, and I obviously have like a trauma against like I don't trust people. I'm very like now very conservative with trusting people. I continued lifting, but deep down inside I'm like, I think I became somebody because I wanted to be with somebody else, and I thought that he would like that image of me, but that wasn't really who I wanted to be. Like I was fine when I was thin and how I looked at the beginning, like before even starting to lift weights. Don't get me wrong, I love how I look thick, but deep down inside, like I like being lean and I like being svelte. So after I finally forgot about that, I just started looking deep within, and I'm like, I look amazing. Like everybody, they're posting me everywhere, but I wasn't happy inside. Like I really, really wasn't. Like I remember those pictures and I remember just being sad. You know, when you see videos or you see pictures of yourself and you could be smiling and you could be looking your best, but you deep inside, you knew how you felt back then. Like looking at those pictures in that specific gym, like wearing that specific clothing, like I just know that I was sad. Like I was literally depressed at that moment and in those pictures. Anyways, I started instead of doing more lifting, I started doing more like jumping and HIIT workouts. It wasn't really HIIT, it was functional training. And from jumping so much, I remember that once in those jumps, like I ruptured my Achilles. I partially ruptured it. And I just kept going to the gym because I didn't want to gain weight. I'm like, no, I'm gonna gain weight if I stop going. And I remember Summer would tell me, Jova, you need to rest. Those are things that only go away if you let your muscle or whatever like relax. You need to relax. And I didn't relax. I just kept doing it until I completely ruptured it. When I completely ruptured it, I had to go to Colombia and I got surgery there. And being 3 months in my mom's apartment just made me realize many things. That surgery opened my eyes so much in regards to that sometimes we pay so much attention to like the physicality of things, the aesthetics, and you don't care about your health. Anyways, as I was saying, sometimes that you pay more attention to like the outside part and you forget about your health. And that surgery really made me open my eyes. I feel that after that surgery, many things changed within me. And I started like just being more grateful, and I started being more appreciative, because sometimes you wake up and you take everything for granted. Like even yesterday, I was seeing this little dog that they had to remove both of her eyes. And I just said to myself, like, imagine just one day, like you can't see, that's it. And every day you wake up and you feel like seeing is just given for granted. You know what I'm saying? And there's things that you really need to appreciate. Same thing with my foot. I remember going to the mall, like in un caminador, in a like in a walker, and my mom would be like far over there, and I'm like, damn, my mom is, I don't know how many years more than me, and she has to wait for me because I couldn't walk. My foot was completely busted. And that made me realize, even then, sitting in my mom's apartment, I remember that I was doing well with my company. I had a trip already paid for Spain. And I'm like, I have all these things. I have money. I have a trip to go. And I don't have my health. Like, my health is the most important thing. And my mindset changed a lot after that. And sometimes I feel that some negative things happen to you in order to open up your perspective as to what life is and the things that are really, really important. So I took care of my foot for those 3 months. I was just there. I took care of my food. I wouldn't eat that much. I was completely wasted with B-body, not wasted with alcohol. I was wasted with B-body the whole entire time. When you are going through a post-surgery, or you can't move, or postpartum, or you have little to no workout, my best suggestion is always to be wasted. And that's why, not even B-Bolt, I was using B-Body. And I also supported myself by going, in Colombia, massages are so inexpensive. So like, I would get a package of massages and it would be like nothing. So I would go, I remember going in an Uber by myself. I would go 3 times a week to get a lymphatic drainage massage. I was eating super, super clean. And like I said in my stories, in Colombia, there's not that much injected. Here, everything is injected. Like food, they inject food to make it bigger, to make it this, to make it that. Colombia's everything is very more natural. So even sometimes when I eat more over there, I still come back like less weight, like weighing less, just because the food is more natural over there. So I was eating very, very healthy. I was using B-Body all the time. I wasn't working out, and my muscle mass just shrunk. Like, I swear everything just shrunk, and I was flabby, but that's why I continued going to do massages, and I use all my products, like most importantly, Gel V to tone, because when you're losing weight, you tend to have loose skin. So I use Gel V 24/7, 3 times a day, completely with B-Body, and getting my massages, and obviously like eating healthy. Once I came back and I started to work out again, I said, I don't want any more muscle mass. And the reality is that the older I get, I don't want to be bulky. I don't want to have a big butt. I don't want to have big thighs. I want to be healthy. I want to be svelte. I want to be toned. I always would, not the current Madonna, but like the old Madonna, like her arms were so ripped. And I remember looking at her and saying, that's when I'm old, I want to be like that. I just want to be toned. So I decided, I'm like, no more weightlifting for me. It's too much of a commitment. It's too much of a compromise. Like, now that I can actually work out, I just want to use a body weighted workout. So I decided to just do HIIT workouts. I'll do cardio, fun cardio. I obviously eat a lot less, which is another thing. When you are lifting weights, you are always very hungry. So to me, it was always like I felt the need to find a balance, because I feel that at the end of the day, you're not gaining anything either if you work out so much that you get so hungry and you're eating all the time. So you're going to end up gaining weight regardless, because you're always so hungry. So I lowered my physical activity, but I also lowered the amount of calories or the food that I was consuming. So I said to myself, if I'm not working out that much, I don't really need all that food. So I lowered all my calorie consumption. Nowadays, I don't pay attention to that, but back in the past, I was very like on my Fitness Pal app. I would insert everything, and I learned a lot about how many calories I was putting into versus how many I was burning. Nowadays, I don't pay attention to anything. You guys already know that I just fast. I eat once a day, whatever I want. It works for me. Even before I was weight training, I would, in my office job, eat once a day. I remember that at 2 or 3 p.m., I would have a salad, and that was it. Like, that was my way of keeping myself accountable. And in an office job, I wouldn't work out at all. So I would say to myself, like, I just need 1 meal a day. And nowadays, even though I do work out a lot, I eat a little bit more than what I used to eat in the office job, but not as much as when I was weight training. When I was weight training, I would eat a lot. And I already posted in my stories the meal plan that I was eating. Now, in order to just maintain myself, you guys already know what I do. I just eat once a day, my OMAD, 1 meal a day, whatever I want. I usually limit it to 13, 14, 1,500 calories max. And yeah, that's how I keep myself consistent. Anyways, that's all, guys. Thank you for watching. Thanks for listening to my vent. I hope I took every point into consideration, because I always have mental things that I try to check off while I'm going. But honestly, if I just stay thinking and making everything perfect and making sure the right moment, the right time, I won't post anything. So sorry if this looks very raw, but I really just wanted to share my story and just let you guys know how my fitness life got involved with my personal life, with my love life. But thankfully, I think that everything in life is an experience. Everything in life, you grow from it. And I feel so happy, like, now, how I look, how I feel. I also feel that I grew maturely as a woman. In relationships, I'm not as open as I used to be. I don't let people into my life like I used to before. Like I said, obviously I have trust issues that I've been working on forever and ever. I still have to continue working on them. But I just wanted to let you guys where I come from and how that story influenced my fitness life and the way that I looked and feel.